Companies fail every day, but why do they fail? Here are Kenyan companies that failed and why they failed. You might or might not have heard this, but Mobius is not the first car company in Kenya. In the year 1986, President Moi initiated a project called the Nyayo car, which was supposed to be the pioneer in the motor industry in Kenya. He gave it to the University of Nairobi, which was supposed to run these projects. 5 prototypes were made, which were running at a speed of 120 kilometers per hour. A motor corporation was made to run this project. The corporation ended up becoming a metal manufacturing company. A 3 out of 10 failed. Konza City. This was meant to be the Wakanda of Kenya, with high technology skyscrapers, first world highways, and people even pictured flying cars. But if you visit Konza today, you will be greeted by dust, echoes, and emptiness. But maybe it's an invisible city like Wakanda. Who knows? A 6 out of 10 fail. In 2010, Kenya was introduced to its first online shopping site by the name OLX. This was a masterpiece in Kenya. It ended up being a hit due to them using celebrities to advertise the product and the site. Kenyans were able to sell whatever they wanted, including cell phones, land, and even cars. But eventually, con artists ended up picking up the site, started using it as a way to con people. And because you needed to meet with the person in order to complete the purchase, thieves pretended to be buyers and they ended up jacking the seller, leading it to its final downfall. A 3 out of 10 fail. Tuskys. Once known as Tusker, was one of the biggest supermarkets in Kenya, having been worth billions of shillings and even employing thousands of people all over Kenya and even East Africa. But after the death of its founder, Joram Kamau, the company ended up crumbling. But why did it happen? Apparently, in 2016, the CEO of Tuskys was ejected out of his office by the grandchildren of the founder of Tuskys. By August 2020, it had accumulated a debt of 6.2 billion to suppliers and creditors. The company tried to stay afloat, but it eventually kicked the bucket, with its last branch being in Nakuru.
This is an enormous fall, so we give it 9 out of 10 fail.
Talking of supermarkets, you cannot talk about a downfall without talking of Nakumatt. I still remember the elephants, the big giant elephants out of its doors. But what happened? Having been worth 45.6 billion Kenyan shillings, 5,000 employees, and 65 branches all over East Africa. The downfall began in 2016. The company started failing to pay suppliers, rent, and even its staff. An administrator was brought in to try and save the company. But in 2018, 18 billion Kenyan shilling went missing in the company. And they had an amounting debt of 6 billion Kenyan shilling, ended up selling its last 6 branches to Naivas. That was an 8 out of 10 fail.